This is why UFC fighters are actually scared of Jack Della Maddalena.
I think Jack is special.
I just think that guy is very good, super underrated.
That's the man to beat now, man. That is the man to beat.
From losing his first 2 professional MMA fights to bouncing back with 2 regional titles and eventually climbing up the ranks to become a UFC champion against all odds, Jack Della Maddalena has proved time and again that he's the real deal, and after the damage he did to Belal Muhammad, UFC fighters, especially Islam Makhachev, should be very scared. Jack Della Maddalena had a terrible start to his MMA career in 2016 when he lost back-to-back fights. A couple of losses is never an ideal start to any fighter's MMA career, but Jack Della Maddalena continued to move forward because he knew he was meant for something big. He got back up and started his recovery with 9 consecutive finishes, winning the Reign Fighting and Eternal MMA welterweight titles. JDM defended the Eternal MMA 170-pound belt 4 times before getting his big shot on Dana White's Contender Series, where he showcased his skills and proved that he belonged among the world's best. In September 2021, Jack Della appeared on Dana White's Contender Series and he made the opportunity count by beating Ange Lusar by decision to earn his place in the UFC's tough welterweight division.
I think Jack is special. I think this guy can really do something here. I liked everything that I saw. And like I said, he didn't show a little bit, he showed a lot of everything. I mean, you got to see this guy everywhere. And obviously, Lusa is a tough, durable guy who kept coming. And Jack had an answer for everything.
JDM was happy to hear Dana's praise, but he also knew expectations were only going to get bigger from here, and he was ready to live up to them.
Dana came in here and he said, he's like, I think this kid's special. I mean, when you hear something like that, I imagine it's got to be exciting, but it's also a little bit intimidating as well to think, hey, there's high expectations here right away.
No, it's cool. The only reason I do this is I want to compete with the best in the world, so perfect. Like, it's just better for me in that regard.
Just 4 months after his big win on Dana White's Contender Series, JDM was all set for his UFC debut against Pete Rodriguez at UFC 270, where he'd show just how terrifying his knockout power was. The fight between Jack Della and Pete Rodriguez was one-sided from the start, as Pete swung recklessly, only to get dropped by a left hook and then finished with ground and pound in 2 minutes and 59 seconds of the first round. JDM was over the moon with how perfect his debut went.
It was sick. Everything I could have dreamed of, and yeah, the fight was... Yeah, I was happy with how I performed. I felt like it was exactly what I needed to do against my opponent, so it was perfect.
Even though JDM had a perfect debut, the real fireworks came when he faced a tough test in Ramazan Aviv, who was about to feel something that he hadn't in 8 years. Heading into the fight, JDM knew that he was up against a tough matchup, especially with Amiv's grappling background.
I think he's pretty well rounded. He plays the game. He tries everything in there. He'll kick and punch and shoot for takedowns. I'm sure of it. So yeah, definitely expecting him to be looking to grapple.
Even though Amiv was dangerous, JDM stayed positive as he knew that beating Amiv could push him closer to the top 15.
I'm hoping that after the Ramazan fight, I can fight someone that's going to get me a top 15 opponent, which would be awesome. But yeah, hopefully just fight another tough fighter and yeah, just keep fighting tougher people every time.
Jack Della's quiet confidence came from knowing just how good he was, and on fight night, he proved it by knocking Amiv out in just 2 minutes and 32 seconds of round 1. The win felt extra special because Amiv hadn't been knocked out in 8 years, and even back in 2014, it took a brutal war that went into the 4th round in Russia to stop him.
It was awesome, no one's ever stopped Ramazan. That was the goal, and to be able to get that goal, it's goal accomplished. On to the next.
Jack Della's next challenge was Danny Roberts, a UFC veteran in his 8th year with plenty of solid wins and enough skills to derail the rising star. But once again, it only took Jack Della a few minutes to show that he was on a whole different level. Heading into the fight, Jack Della Maddalena knew he was up against someone who could bring the heat.
I think it's a cool matchup. If you watch him fight, he brings it every time. He's a tall, fast southpaw, and yeah, he's going to bring it. I think he gets hit and he decides to bite down and swing, and it's going to be a cool fight. Fight of the night.
Even though JDM respected Danny Roberts as a dangerous opponent, he knew deep down that his own toolbox was sharper and he could use it to full effect at any time during the fight.
My game plan is go in there and hit and not be hit. So whether it's 3 rounds or early, it doesn't really matter. That's sort of my game plan. I'm good to go 3 rounds and I'm prepared for 3 rounds.
Roberts was confident as well, as he believed Jack Della was tailor-made for his style.
Again, styles make fights, and this is one of the fights and the styles which I will be able to put on a clinic. I will be able to show a bit of prowess. So, yeah, you'll see that.
Danny Roberts talked a big game before the fight, but on fight night, he was humbled as Jack Della smashed him, rocked him with a big left hook, and then added follow-up punches until the ref stepped in. That's made it Jack's 3rd first-round finish in a row and his 2nd straight performance bonus. With 3 wins in a row, Jack asked for a ranked opponent next, and he wanted the fight to happen at UFC 284 in front of his home crowd in Australia.
Would you prefer a ranked fighter, or are you still kind of like, do you want the slow build where you're kind of putting names on your resume?
No, of course, a ranked fight would be awesome, in Perth, a ranked fighter. I think it's be a perfect start to what I'm hoping is going to be another big year.
JDM got what he asked for, a fight against veteran Randy Brown at UFC 284, where he was about to show his compatriots that they had a future champion on their hands. Heading into the fight, JDM carried himself like a champion who was full of respect for his opponent, yet carried confidence in his ability to get the job done.
What do you make of his skill set and what he brings?
Yeah, he's a good challenging opponent. He's extremely tall. He's been in the game a lot, fought some of the top guys in the division. So yeah, I'm excited to challenge myself. I think I can beat him, and yeah, that's what I'm coming to do.
As much as JDM tried to avoid the spotlight, he was surrounded by cameras in his hometown, and that made Brown feel like he was being overlooked.
Do you kind of feel like you're being overlooked in this fight given how all the hype around Jack in his home country?
That's how I always see it, shiny new toy. And all the hype is well deserved. He's really good. I am being overlooked, but listen, I've been overlooked my entire career. That's just the nature of my story, I guess. So I don't really look into it too much. I just take it as it is, another guy that I need to get out of there.
On fight night, Maddalena came out aggressive right from the start, chasing down Randy Brown and dropping him with a clean right hook. As Brown tried to survive by giving up his back, Maddalena quickly switched gears from striking to grappling and locked in a rear naked choke to force a tap at 2 minutes and 13 seconds of the first round. The joy of victory was doubled as Jack Della picked up his 3rd performance of the night bonus, but instead of soaking it all in, he was already setting his sights on the next big challenge.
You now well and truly belong at the top. Do you have a long-term plan in terms of the career, or is it just guy in the top 15, you'll take anyone?
Yeah, honestly, I'll fight anyone in the top 15. I'm after challenging myself, and I think, I thought Randy would bring the challenge, and I'm excited for the next challenge.
Jack Della's next challenge came out of nowhere and with just 7 days notice, but not only did he accept it, but he was about to put on a performance that revealed a new and more dangerous side of his game. In his next fight, Jack Della was originally set to face top 10 contender Sean Brady at UFC 290, but after Brady withdrew with an undisclosed injury and even the replacement fighter was sidelined by a serious illness, the UFC brought in Basil Hafez to make his debut against JDM on just 7 days notice. Knowing that it was an opportunity of a lifetime, Hafez promised to make the most of it on fight night.
This is just another fight to me. Jack's a great fighter, and I'm ready for it. I know that a lot of people might doubt me, but doubt all you want. I'm showing up on short notice. I'm going to put on a great fight, and I'm going to stake my claim here in the UFC.
Jack Della knew his opponent wasn't there to mess around, and he made sure not to take him lightly.
What do you think of the matchup with Basil?
Yeah, no, I'm pumped. I think he's an aggressive guy. You've got to expect someone like that. It's got a big opportunity on their hands. You've got to expect him to come at me. So, yeah, I'm just in for a fight, and that's what we got.
And JDM was surely in for a fight as Hafez took him down just seconds into the first round and caught him with some good shots throughout round 1. In round 2, JDM picked Hafez apart until an error led to a takedown and control time. Round 3 was all Jack Della as Hafez ran out of gas and ended up surviving a submission attempt and a final flurry of punches. After 3 hard-fought rounds, Jack Della secured the win by a razor-close split decision. And Jack wasn't happy with his performance, but after the chaos of those 2 weeks prior to the fight, just showing up and getting the job done said everything about his mindset.
How do you feel about your performance?
I feel I want to look back. You know, it wasn't my best performance, but it was a lot of fun. You know, I came in, been a crazy 3 weeks, and at the end of the day, he's got to get in there and grit out a tough fight.
With a subpar performance by his standards, Jack Della Maddalena lost his chance to fight a top 5 fighter, but he still managed to secure a duel with Kevin Holland, who brought out the best in JDM. The fight between JDM and Kevin Holland took place at Noche UFC on Mexican Independence Day, and JDM wanted to bring that Mexican fire to the cage against Holland as tribute.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Mexican boxers. There's been some legendary ones, and yeah, I plan on getting into the inside and fighting in Mexican style.
While Jack Della promised to bring the fire, he thought Holland would bring the same energy.
I think he's a good fighter. He's got unpredictable style. It's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Interestingly, Holland wasn't looking for a war. He was far more focused on picking apart the holes he believed existed in Jack Della's game.
He said he's going to come out and fight Mexican style.
That's what's up.
Do you, how do you kind of see this fight going down?
It's going to be a mixed martial arts fight. He's not Wonder Boy. He doesn't get the credit or the respect that he deserves to make me fight one specific way. It's be a mixed martial arts fight. He does certain things to leave opportunity for other things. He doesn't do those things, it leaves opportunity for other things. Overall, I'm going to take what the defense gives me, and his defense gives me a lot of shit. You dig?
On fight night, fans didn't get to see the wild brawl that they were hoping for, but Jack Della Maddalena's heavier shots made all the difference. Holland didn't shy away from fighting in close range and kept the volume high, but in the end, JDM's power edged it out and earned him another split decision win. Although it was a second consecutive split decision, 16 out of 16 media scorecards scored it for JDM, and even his team thought he won all 3 rounds.
Another close one, I want to go back, watch it, and then assess. But my team are pretty confident I won every round, but yeah, it was a tight one.
Though many believed he was robbed of a clear-cut win, JDM didn't complain and instead showed class and gave Holland plenty of respect.
It's hard to read, and I didn't know what to expect going in there, so I just wanted to be defensively sound and land shots. I wanted to try and take him out in the last round, but yeah, it was hard to read.
With the win over Holland, Jack Della Maddalena moved to 6-0 in the UFC and finally earned a big-name opponent in Gilbert Burns, and he was about to show his toughest version yet. For UFC 299, JDM's plan was to return to finishing ways, especially after his missed opportunity against Kevin Holland.
Kevin's a dangerous fighter, and I felt I could have given more, but didn't on the night. But yeah, I'm looking forward to. I want to get a finish. I want to get back to my finishing ways, so that's what I'm coming to do this weekend.
Given Burns' credentials, Jack Della knew that this was his shot to make a real claim for a title shot, so he surely needed to make a statement and leave no doubts.
It's a big one for me, he's a top 5. I think this is, I feel like if you can't beat Gilbert Burns, you can't become a world champion, so my plan is to beat Gilbert Burns and prove that I belong in the top 5.
As for Burns, he respected the challenge ahead, but he didn't see anything that he couldn't handle.
I see a very tough challenge. I do believe I'm going to be able to get a finish, to put him in a very bad position, hurt him, but he's a very tough dude, and I respect that.
When the cage door closed, Jack Della looked almost superhuman as he broke his arm in the very first round, but still fought through Burns' takedown attempts. In the third round, JDM landed a clean knee that dropped Burns, and he sealed the deal with elbow strikes on the ground. Not only did Jack Della return to finishing ways, but he also secured a performance of the night bonus yet again, and did all that with a broken arm, thinking of it as just a bruise.
Do you recall at all feeling any pain during the fight?
No. The only time I remember feeling pain was probably going out to the third round. I felt not necessarily that it was broken, but I just felt that my grip had sort of just gone. I couldn't really grip anything. But yeah, I thought it may have just been a solid bruise, you know.
Even Burns was surprised at how incredibly tough JDM was.
I broke his arm in the first round with the body kick. He kept fighting through the whole fight. I got his back, he couldn't do much. Took him down, couldn't do much. I did a lot of good things, but he had an answer for almost everything that I did.
After securing another fine win, Jack Della Maddalena was now looking at a #1 contender's fight, but he ended up securing a title shot against a cocky champ in Belal Muhammad, who was brutally made to pay for his trash talking. The UFC originally planned a title fight between Belal Muhammad and Shavkat Rakhmonov for February 2025, but after Shavkat pulled out with an injury, Jack Della Maddalena got the shot at the 170-pound belt at UFC 315 in May. The build-up to the clash was completely one-sided, as Belal talked a ton of trash, claiming how he'd knocked JDM out because he had Canelo hands.
You're gonna see the meaning of Canelo hands. Jack goes down in 3, he gets knocked out.
Belal even went as far as saying that he was the best boxer in the UFC welterweights division.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock him out. I'm gonna go in there, I'm gonna show that I'm the best boxer in the welterweight division. I'm the best fighter in the welterweight division, and I'm gonna show my dominance again.
In the lead up to the fight, Belal kept saying he'd break JDM, but JDM wasn't having any of it because to him, Belal wasn't who he claimed he was, especially since most of his wins came by decision.
I mean, I'd be pretty embarrassed if he broke me. He's never broken anyone, so I'm not too worried, but I expect a tough fight.
The UFC 315 main event was a war from bell to bell in what was an all-out striking fight for the most part. Both men were bloodied and exhausted by the end, but it was Belal who wore the damage worse, with a split upper lip, a broken nose, and a shattered orbital. After 5 rounds of war, the judges gave the win and the belt to Jack Della Maddalena, who had nothing but respect for his opponent.
What were you expecting it from him?
Yeah, I was expecting a tough fight. Obviously, he's a good fighter, pressure fighter. Good wrestling, he's pretty well rounded, so yeah, I was expecting a tough fight.
As for Belal, he thanked God, his fans, and promised to make a strong comeback. The MMA world had a lot to say about the fights too, especially about JDM, who many pros acknowledged was a lot better than expected.
Belal landed some really good shots, but it just wasn't enough. Tonight they were saying he needs to use the game plan that he had against Leon Edwards. Yeah, sure, go forward, get a hold of him, pick him up, take him down, control him on the ground. He was trying to do that, but Jack Della Maddalena was just the better man.
Jack is amazing at that mid-range boxing, which he showed this weekend, which was so crazy. He looked amazing in winning that belt, defended every takedown. He did just a great job of becoming the world champion.
While JDM received praise from many in the MMA community, some people weren't too impressed, and one of them was Islam Makhachev, who immediately called Jack Della out in a tweet that said, "Keep my belt clean." Makhachev recently vacated his lightweight belt and has officially moved up to welterweight, which means he will be Jack Della Maddalena's first title defense, but JDM welcomes the challenge.
Islam's already tweeted at you a few times, and like the most recent one, he says, "You're not Volk. I'll show you there at different levels. Keep my belt clean." Do you have any response to Islam?
No, come get it. Come get it.
Jack Della Maddalena's title win showed everyone he's the real deal. He's beaten tough guys, proved he's going to the top, and now the rest of the division has a big problem on their hands. But will anyone be able to solve this puzzle?
I don't think he's going to lose it to Makhachev.
Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch another, check out times where cocky UFC fighters got completely humbled by their opponents.